They don't just write to remember. They write to survive their own mind. Right now, somewhere in America, a person closes a notebook after writing the last sentence of the day. No likes, no audience, no applause, just ink, paper, and a mind trying to make sense of itself. And that quiet habit, so ordinary, it's often ignored, might be one of the most psychologically powerful tools a human can possess. Here's the hook most people miss. People who keep a journal are not documenting their life. They are training their brain. This is not about diaries. This is about psychological leverage. From a third-person view, the narrator steps back and observes a pattern that repeats across history, markets, and human behavior. The people who consistently journal are not the loudest in the room. They're often invisible, but internally, something different is happening. Their thoughts don't float endlessly. They land. They get captured. They get examined, and that changes everything. What would you do if your thoughts could no longer lie to you? Pause here and comment below. Would you want to know the truth about your own patterns, even if it was uncomfortable? Psychology tells us the mind is not designed to remember accurately. It is designed to protect identity. Journaling quietly breaks that protection mechanism. When a person writes, the brain shifts from emotional reaction to cognitive processing. The amygdala calms. The prefrontal cortex comes online. Emotion turns into language. Language creates distance. This is why journaling feels relieving, even when nothing good is written. Jesse Livermore, the legendary trader, understood this before neuroscience could explain it. He obsessively documented his traits, his emotions, his impulses. Not because he loved writing, but because he didn't trust his feelings. Livermore believed the market punishes emotional memory and rewards written truth. His journals weren't records, they were mirrors. And here's the deeper psychological layer. People who journal are willing to confront cognitive dissonance. Most people avoid the discomfort of contradiction. They say one thing, feel another, and distract themselves before the conflict becomes conscious. Journal keepers do the opposite. They sit with contradiction. They write it down. They allow discomfort to exist on the page without needing immediate relief. That single behavior rewires emotional resilience. In the American psychological landscape, fast-paced, productivity-obsessed, dopamine-driven journaling is almost an act of rebellion. It slows time. It forces reflection in a culture addicted to reaction. That's why high performers quietly do it, while the masses scroll. Short lines matter here, because the brain listens differently when space is created. People who journal begin to notice patterns before others do. They recognize emotional cycles. They see repeated mistakes. They catch the same fear, wearing different masks. Livermore called this recognizing when you are wrong before the market forces you to admit it in psychology. This is called metacognition, the ability to think about your own thinking. Journaling builds it daily, line by line, and here's the tension point. Once you start seeing your patterns, you can't unsee them. That's why many people quit journaling after a few days. Not because it doesn't work, but because it works too well. The page doesn't judge, but it also doesn't lie. Excuses look weak in handwriting. Rationalizations collapse when read back a week later. This is the emotional edge of the habit. The narrator leans in here and lowers the tone. Because journaling is not self-care. It is self-confrontation. And just like in trading, just like in life, the people who win long-term are not the ones who feel confident every day. They are the ones who are brutally honest when confidence disappears. As this first section closes, one truth becomes clear. A journal is not a notebook. It's a psychological audit trail. And once a person starts keeping records of their inner world, the next battle is inevitable. The conflict between who they think they are and what the pages reveal. That's where the real story begins.